Hello, how are you? This is Els coming from bmascraftycorner, and this is the folio that I did for the Seussian Journal. So let's take a look. So of course we have our Seuss paper that we ordered for this, and we have a little, corner pocket back here, and a little cat in the hat right here, and a little Velcro closure. And then you open this up, and inside there's a really nice pad that matches, and over here is a nice deep gusseted pocket with some Grinch paper and envelopes tied up, of course, in the standard red and white. And it fits in here, plenty of room for other things. This is completely lined. The pad comes out. It's in there on this is press board, and it fits the small legal pad, and when you put it in there, it fits exactly to the edge. So I'm going to walk you through how to do this one, okay? I'm going to get the supplies out, and I'll be right back. All right. Sorry. All right, so in order to do this, you're going to need a file folder, preferably one that is a center tab, okay? You're going to need at least one 12 by 12 sheet of paper. A scoreboard, scoring tool, some scissors, a pencil, a ruler, glue, some double-sided tape, those kinds of things. All right. So let's do the first part. So this is my prototype. Okay? This is what I built it from. So let's take a look at this. So according to this, we're going to do a couple of scores here. So let's start with those. On the side that has the divot in it, this side here, put that up against the side of your scoreboard, and we're going to score at 4.5 inches. Okay, then we're going to come out and we're going to score way out here, okay, at 10, and then 10.25. Okay, now turn it over, put it back up there, and do it on the other side. 4.5, 10, and 10.25. All right, now the next one is a little bit trickier, because to get the next one we have to go from this line, which is the natural fold, and we're going to go out to 6 7/8 from that fold on the side with the tab. Okay, 6 7/8, that's one mark just before, sorry, 6 7/8. We're actually going to go to 7 1/8, and then 7 3/8. So that's the mark just before and the mark just after 7.25. Then we're going to turn this over, and it doesn't matter which lines you use to do this, but you want to score it again on the other side, okay? Now, for the one that I did, let me get that out here. For the one that I did, it is 8 inches, okay? So I have to get this cut down to 8 inches with this in the middle. And a file folder is about 11.5. So you have 3.5 inches that you have to deal with on either side of your center, okay? Sorry. So we're going to get out our cutter. with the folded edge in the cutter, you're going to take off 1 3/4 on this side and on the other side, okay? So we're going to do this side first. 1 3/4. And then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do 1 3/4 on this side. Or you can do it this way if you want and go with the 8-inch, okay? Whichever way is more comfortable for you. Hold on to those. All right. So now we're going to start folding here. We're going to fold in that 4.5 inch. We're going to put a nice crease in it. And we're going to come over to this side real quick. You're going to put your ruler on this side of the first line. And you're going to bring that up. Okay? The ruler just helps to make the line. And then turn it around, put your ruler on the other side of the other line. On the left side of the line. Sorry. And bring this part up. Okay? It's just to help you get that 1/4 inch in there because it's not very big. Alright, we're going to do the same thing on these 2 lines. Ruler to the left. Bring up our stock. Turn it around. Ruler to the left. Bring up your stock. Okay? Now, once you have all of those in there, go ahead and burnish them to reinforce. Slippery little sucker. Okay. So now you have a piece that looks like this. Okay? So here's your tab top. This comes over. You've got a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here. And your natural fold is here. Alright? Now, because this is the natural fold, we want to reinforce this a little bit to make it stay flat. I'm going to be using some paper tape, binding tape here. So I'm going to pull about 6 inches or so of this off. And I'm just going to put it right there. I'm going to use my bone folder and I'm going to press it down nice and snug and secure. Okay, this is going to be papered over. Now, as far as the paper, you only need the paper to go about halfway. So if you're working with a little less than a 12-inch piece, that's okay. All right, so now for this, we're going to cover this whole piece as one piece. All right? Now, if you want to do it in 2 separate pieces, you can do that, but the way that I'm going to show you is going to be in one piece. All right? So we're going to measure the distance from this crease to this one, which for me is 11 1/4. I'm going to give myself a 1/4 inch on either side. So 11 inches across, will take me as far as I need to go here, and this is 8 inches, so we're going to go 7 3/4, okay? So let me cut this down to 7 3/4. And let's take a look. So we want this covered, but it doesn't have to be covered, you know, dramatically. So we could actually go 9 inches on this and be perfectly okay. So let's go ahead and cut it 9. We'll save that. And this piece, we're going to put 1/4 inch from the second score in. Okay, so from this score here, this one, okay, and over. And then when we fold this down, you'll see that it covers it quite nicely. Okay, so this piece is going to get attached. We're going to go ahead and ink it. But before we attach anything, we're going to kind of pull all the pieces here. Now we need to do this piece. If you want this pocket gusseted, now's the time to get your gussets together. So all you're going to do is take one piece that's left of your folder, cut it in half, and you want about a 1 inch, 1.5 inch strip here. So I'm going to cut off the original folds, and we give myself a 1.5 inch strip. Which I'm going to score straight down the middle at 3/4 inch. And then I'm going to fold that in half, and that is going to become my gusset. So I'm just going to sort of eyeball this. It's good. Fantastic. We're going to wedge these in on both sides. Get rid of these. Now I'm going to glue these in, but because I want them to hold immediately, I'm going to be adding a little tape to them. So let me get the white so you guys can see it. So this is just really thin. This is 1/8 inch, and I'm going to put it on the folded edge, as close to the fold as I can. Okay, just like that. Cut it off, and I'm going to do the other side. So you're actually going to end up with a strip on each side of this. And I'm going to do that to both. There we go. All right, so now I can set these aside, and we're going to start working on this part here. So for this part, if we look at the original, there's a pocket cover here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cover this pocket. And to cover this pocket, we need to put this little divot in. So we're going to take a piece of paper, we're going to measure to the highest point, which is 4 3/8. Okay, remember we scored at 4 1/2, but when you fold it over, you're going to lose a little bit. So we're at 4 3/8, and we want it to be about a 1/4 of an inch down. So it's going to be 4 1/8 by 7 3/4. Now all of the measurements are going to be in the description as always. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a couple of paper clips here. We're going to put this on all the way to the top, evenly side to side where we want it to be. And then we're going to paper clip this on here. When we open it up, this is the part we want to get rid of. Okay? So we're just going to take a pencil and we're going to draw this in. Okay? Once we have that drawn on, we're going to cut it off by hand. Now, if you don't want this look, don't do this. Don't hassle yourself with it, okay? Alright, so when we fold this up, this is going to fit just the way we want it to, okay? So that piece is ready to go. Now we're going to do the other side. Now over here, you need 2 pieces, one on this side and one on this side. So let's go ahead and get ourselves some paper for this. All right, I'm going to use this on the outside, and I'm going to use the matching paper on the inside. Okay, so we happen to have the rest of this piece that was cut, so we have a piece that'll work here, and all we need is a piece of this that's the same width. Look at that, fantastic. We're going to cut these down to the same size. Now, if you need to be precise with this, be precise. Me, not so much. I fly by the seat of my pants. I don't care. Okay. It was a horrible cut. We'll live. Alright. So this one's going to go on this side, and that one's going to go on the other side. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to clip this where I want it, even. But I'm going to do double the distance between the score line and the paper. Double the distance. Okay? Flip it on. Turn it over. And I'm going to draw my line. Oh, pencil on my file folder. then I'm going to take the other piece, I'm going to put these together, and I'm going to cut them together. Alrighty. One for my inside, and I'm going to trim a little bit here. Beautiful. One for my outside. I'm going to trim a little bit here. Okay. Those are both ready to go. On the original one, I added a strip of paper right here. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but if you want to, you can. You have that scrap, you know. And you just put it in there. And it's about 1/4 of an inch. Just shy of 1/4 of an inch. So if you want to add that in, you can add that detail in. Once you put this on here, and that there, keeps it just from looking like it's really got too much of the background coming through right here. Okay, so just a detail if you want to add that in. Now the next part we have to cover are these flaps over here. So I'm going to flip the whole thing over. And again, on the natural fold here, if you want to, you can put some tape there, some paper tape. Just make sure that you don't have it sticking out top or bottom, okay? Or too close to the edge. Just like that. All right. Now you're going to cut 2 pieces for the outside. This one is going to be 5 1/4 by 7 3/4, and this one is going to be 5 1/4 by 7 3/4. 2/4, that would be a half. 7 3/4. And those are going to be your 2 pieces that are going to go here and here. All right. So let's get those cut and get everything inked. If you're going to ink this, your actual folder, ink it now. But make sure that you ink all of your papers, and make sure you cut those other 2 pieces, and then I will be back and we will assemble and get everything put together, and we'll do the gusseted pocket and you know, put a pocket on the back of it and decorate it a little bit and be ready to go. I'll be right back. So I've inked everything, and in the interest of not taking forever to do this, I will be using tape today, which I've already applied to the back of all of my pieces. So before we go further, if your tape is over any of the score lines that we put into it, then score those lines again. If they're not, don't worry about it, okay? All right, so the first piece we're going to put in, obviously, is going to be the main body piece here. And we will be putting this towards the flap side. Okay, so I'm going to take my tape off here. And I'm only going to take off about half of them. There we go. Because I want to make sure that I have this in the position before I put it down. All right, so 1/8 of an inch at the top, 1/8 of an inch at the bottom, about 1/8 of an inch on the edge over here, and that's the correct placement. Now I can take off the rest of my tape. Shoot. And 3, and when I let that go, it's just going to lay down perfectly. All right. Next part I'm going to put in is going to be this little piece. If you didn't do this piece, then don't worry about it. But if you did, then we're going to be putting that piece in right now. So I'm just going to wiggle this off of here. Okay. And again, I'm not going to take it all the way off because I want to leave part of it on so that I can get this in the right placement. Before I put the top half down. And then I can remove the paper and it'll be in the right position. Now we're going to do the inside piece here. And see where I have this tape coming off the top? It's not a problem. I'm just going to fold it back. All right. So I'm going to take off this one and the 2 little ones that I have here. Let's make sure we just take off tape. There we go. And this little piece, I'm just going to fold it in. And then I'm going to place this part where I want it to be. Put the rest of it down. And then just take off this piece of tape here in the back. Yeah. All right. Now, our pocket. Let's get the pocket done. So once again, I'm just going to reinforce the fold here with the bone folder. And it's also going to help to release the tape. I'm going to take one piece of tape off. I'm going to add my glue. And then I'm going to put this on the flap, not on the project itself. We're going to make sure that that folded edge is right up against our bottom edge here. So I'm going to do it this way because it makes it easier for me to see. Once I have it where I want it, then I'll use my bone folder to press it down. And then I'm going to do the other side, so I'll be turning my project around. Moving one side of the tape. Adding glue. Thing that wasn't heavy. We'll be lining this up over here, right up against the edge. There we go. press it down. And then I'm going to remove this piece and this piece. We're going to put glue on here. And then we're going to fold this up. Okay? We're going to make sure that our sides meet before we press that down. And the tape is just going to help hold it in place while the glue sets up. Alright, so now we are ready to get this completely put together. So we're going to get our scoreboard real quick. And if you don't have a scoreboard, it's not important. There's other ways you can do this. Okay? But we put the paper over our 1/4 inch seam. So we're going to line this up. Doesn't matter which line we put it at. And we're going to put those scores back in. Okay? Yes. All right. And then we'll just refold. All right. So now, last part of this, the pad. If you want to cover the top of your pad, like mine, I think says Amazon Basics. So if you want to cover the top of this, just cut a piece that's as wide as your pad and light, you know, about 2 to 3 inches. Mine is 3 inches. And I just glued it on the front and a little bit of glue on the top, glued over the top, and put a couple of binder clips or something on it and let it hold. And we are going to do our piece that goes in here. So to do that piece, we're going to measure from this fold to this one. And that is, turn the ruler over so you can read the numbers, goofball. So that's about 5.5 inches. So we're going to go about 5 1/4, but you want to make sure that you got, you know. So we're going to take a piece of what's left of the file folder, what we cut off the side, and we're going to cut off the 2 ends real quick. And then we're going to measure our pad, which for me is 5 inches. So I'm going to go to 7 inches. Okay. I'm going to come back to my scoreboard with my strip. And I'm going to go 1 line before the inch. Turn it around and go 1 line before the inch. It gives me a little wiggle room on the pad, okay? Fold, fold, and then I'm going to put it right here. Bring it in. Lots of glue, tape, good adhesive here, okay? I like glue because it lets me move it around for just a little bit till I get it exactly where I want it. And the reason I'm going to put this on with the pad is so that I know I'm not making it too tight, okay? So then I'm going to bring this back over. I'm going to make sure that I have the top, which I do because my stripe is at the bottom. And turn this over, press these in, line up my pad, which for me, by the way, fits perfectly in here. And press it down. Wait a few minutes. Then I'm going to fold in this side, fold over this side, and I need to close this. Now you can use any type of closure that you want. I am going to be using a Velcro micro dot because that works for me. Come on out of there, little Velcro dot. It's a stubborn little dot. There it is. So all I'm going to do is open this up, remove the backing, and that. Remove the back from that piece, which I have to tell you is always easier said than done. And then I'm just going to fold this over and let the adhesive take. Okay, that is my little Seuss folder that I did, the little folio that I did for the Dr. Seuss, for the Seussical Journal. Thank you so much for watching. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that red button for me and subscribe. Like me, ring my bell, share me with all your friends. Then your friends can be my friends, and my friends can be your friends, and our friends can get to be friends. And before you know it, we have a giant crafting community. I go live on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 11, 12, and 1 across the country. And I upload videos on Mondays and Wednesdays. So stop by and see me when I'm live sometime. Check out some of my other videos. I welcome all of your comments. If you have any questions, let me know. All of the measurements and directions for this are going to be in the description box below. Until I see you again, stay safe. Bye-bye.